You're listening to Trek FM.
Hello and welcome to From There to Here, Trek FM's 50th anniversary rewatch of Star Trek, in which we look at all 729 episodes from beginning to end. I'm your host for today's episode, and I'm joined by Amy Nelson again. How are you, Amy?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Lee.
Oh yeah, well, none of you can see it, but Amy is wearing one of the Trek FM t-shirts, so she's on brand here on a Sunday. It's evening time here in the UK, and I'm wearing some pajamas, so I think we're in a perfect position to start talking about some Trek.
Yes.
So we've got a couple of episodes today. We've got Prey and One Little Ship. So Amy, do you want to tell us about Prey?
Yeah, Prey, they're helping a wounded Hirogen, and Janeway finds that her prey, a member of species 8472, has boarded Voyager. And
Dun, dun, dun.
yeah, so I really enjoyed this episode. I think it showed a lot of character building for Seven of Nine and Janeway, and also for the Hirogen. Am I saying that right?
Hirogen, yeah.
Hirogen. Yeah. So what did you think of it?
I really liked this one when I was much younger, and then when I kind of watched it recently, like, I kind of always enjoyed the Hirogen arc, Hunters, Prey, and then into Killing Game. And kind of watching this one back, it didn't as excite me as much as I remembered. I think there's a few elements that kind of frustrated me, but there's still a few elements that I think are really good. It's good to see Species 8472 back again. Tony Todd is always a treat to get in Star Trek. And yeah, there's some good tension, but there were some elements that really kind of frustrated me. I don't know if you kind of felt the same way. Like, I think the Seven of Nine stuff is fantastic, as you say, some real growth building there. She really is stubborn and kind of feet down when it comes to Species 8472. But I don't know if you felt the same way, but I felt it was a bit of a contradiction with Janeway's stance is that Species 8472 is life that needs to be preserved. But I'm pretty sure 6 months ago she was committing genocide and wiping all Species 8472 out with fire torpedoes. Let's join the Borg and kill Species 8472. And now she's kind of hung up on saving one of their lives. Something seems a bit wrong there, I think.
Well, I think when you're looking at just this situation, I think it makes sense. I mean, this is a single, 8472.
Uh-huh.
And so that's going to change the dynamics of it. And so, yeah, you do want to save and preserve life. And this one isn't trying to annihilate Voyager. It's just trying to survive. So I think if you're looking at just that one experience, then I think Janeway's sort of right in that.
Yeah, I definitely think you make a good case there. It was just kind of very frustrating for me that, Janeway was willing to massacre, thousands of them, giving the Borg the technology to essentially wipe them out. It was, really kind of frustrating, even when she kind of learned the revelation about the Borg, that she was still willing to kind of massacre them because they're the enemy. It seems like Janeway will kind of go where the wind's blowing, that, we'll go with the Borg here, and then in this episode, I'll go with Species 8472 over the Hirogen. It kind of frustrates me as a viewer because I think the 7 of 9 point that she makes is fantastic, and I think the debate between the two characters is really excellent stuff. But then I just kind of feel myself getting a bit annoyed, thinking, wait, the stance 7 of 9's got was kind of the stance you had just a few months ago, and it kind of undermines it just a little bit for me, and it kind of annoys me as someone that's, say, like a regular viewer, where I can call back on these things going, hey, there's a contradiction here, and that contradiction doesn't kind of get brought up as far as I'm aware.
Well, don't you think that they're taking the perspective of, here's this single 8472, and, I mean, should any species be hunted down when they're defenseless and, just trying to survive, sort of brings back terrible pictures of, someone killing a lion, for example, or, just for these quests of having the trophy. And I think that it almost reminded me a little bit of the Next Generation, The Most Toys, where
Good pull.
Yeah, whereas he's trying to collect just to have these trophies. And what is the point of that? I mean, you're comparing collecting trophies with going to war, and that's, I think, different.
Yeah, that's a really good point there where you talk about it. It was war, but I just feel that it still was something I struggled to get past watching the episode. I thought, yeah, like, even though it was just the one individual, that, thousands upon thousands of kind of species 8472, possibly millions, once she gave the Borg the technology, that, I totally didn't agree with the stance of the Hirogen, and I could see myself taking Janeway's stance. And I probably would have done the exact same thing in the Scorpion situation. It would have been a tough decision to make. So I've kind of got that human contradiction in myself that I'm aware of it. I can accept it. But I think it would have added a bit more tension to the episode if 7 of 9 could pull going, well, you didn't have a problem massacring them, And then that 7 of 9 gets punished for essentially killing one species 8472, whereas Janeway and the crew have a lot more of them on their kind of hands.
Yeah, I did feel it was a little contrived. I don't know what your opinion was, but when they're in the captain's ready room and Janeway's going on about how, she saved the one and that brought humanity. And I felt that story was a little contrived. What did you feel about that?
Yeah, that kind of contrived, that fed into my frustration with that kind of contradiction. I think it is a really good point to make that, that we should seek to be friends with our enemies. But before Janeway really had the chance to get to kind of know these creatures, she was willing to massacre them in the thousands. So, yeah, it was a bit frustrating. And the fact that 7 of 9 gets punished at the end for it, that she's getting her abilities to access non-essential systems taken away, is something that will kind of, you think, oh, well, that's a strong punishment. We'll kind of see it gone by the teaser in the next episode.
Yes.
So, Prey in isolation is a very good episode, but then for me as a fan, it's let down by Janeway's events as Scorpion and then 7 of 9 being back to normal in the next episode. So yeah, a good episode in isolation, and then the larger piece a bit frustrating.
Yeah, I can see that, definitely.
So we'll go into our next episode, One Little Ship.
Oh, goodness. Well, we have Dax, O'Brien, and Bashir board a runabout that shrinks to only 4 inches long as they investigate a subspace phenomenon. This is Honey, I Shrunk the Ship, right?
Yeah. What do you think of this one, Amy?
I thought it was really fun. I, being a math teacher, really enjoyed looking at perspective and the proportion of things. I thought they had some great sets with the new huge isolinear chips. That whole set I just loved. I thought that was very fun.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'd actually go further and say I love this episode. I've watched it kind of quite a few times. I think it's really cleverly done. That it is a ridiculous kind of concept, especially for Deep Space Nine. But they set it up really well in the beginning that Kira can't keep a straight face. We're going to shrink them down. I think that's fantastic stuff. It's really it sets you up. Deep Space Nine always has the thing. Oh, Deep Space Nine's so serious. Everything's always so dire. But they do fun episodes so well, and this is one of the kind of on-form ones. And I think we learn a lot of stuff in the kind of episode that it is a romp and there's a lot of humor. But I love the stuff with the Alpha and Gamma. I kind of forgot about that one because I've not watched this in a while. That tension between the Alpha and Gamma, so it really adds something to the Jem'Hadar that I know the last episode we did, we were kind of putting some shades onto the Jem'Hadar. So this is another one that kind of the Alpha are bred for certain types of things, the Gammas are for other parts, that their DNA can be changed really for depending on the war they're in. So I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, I think it's a kind of classic Deep Space Nine episode. I couldn't get bored of watching this episode.
Yeah, the one issue just... Okay, so they go in, they get one little issue. They go in, they get shrunk, they come out a different path, so therefore they're still small. And then it's at the end, they don't even really address how they get back to regular size again. So what is up with that? If they went in, wouldn't they get even smaller?
Who knows? I'm sure there's a line at the end where there's a MacGuffin. Oh, they got sent back the right path and then came out. It's one of these things that when an episode, or like for example, like TNG did it quite a bit, where the episode hinges on the MacGuffin and like, oh, blah blah blah, this is how we got out of it, and like that's kind of like the whole episode is about the science of aspect. The kind of science here of them shrinking down is like secondary nature to, we're going to shrink them down, we're going to have some fun, and then it's all magically sorted in the magic room and all that sort of stuff at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I can go away with that if the episode doesn't hinge on it. No issue with it. Yeah, whatever. However we get from A to B, and if I can have fun and the adventure's great in between, that's not a problem. With this, it's like, yeah, okay, they're mad by the end. That's fine.
Yeah, don't think about it too much because it is a fun, lighthearted episode and, very interesting.
Yeah, like, as I say, it's one of these ones, like, I love the Bryan, just like, yeah, especially him as a little man. It's never gets old. That I'm sure someone will make a leprechaun joke. So, but yeah, there's so many kind of little pieces, and the humor, and I like the thing where I always find it just a little funny beat when they come out of the little hatch and there's a little fire between them, and it's just that little cool kind of practical effect of the door busting open. I think that it just looks really funny that we've got this big tense scene. Oh my God, what's going to happen? And then, oh no, they're all out.
Yeah. Well, and really cute I'm a big fan of Worf and Jadzia, and the little poem at the end, and Worf's just making it up, and Jadzia just catches him. You made that up. Yeah, of course. I'd say, yep, you just made that up. Try again.
Yeah, like, I can't fault One Little Ship. Once again, it's good to get. It's been a kind of few episodes since we've had something kind of going on with the Dominion War arc, and the fact that they do it in a fun, imaginative way, that war can be fun. If only that was like that in real life. But yeah, I think there's so much fun to be had. It's a classic romp, and I think there's some information we can learn about the Jem'Hadar. There's plenty of jokes. It's Deep Space Nine really firing on all cylinders, and I think I can't fault it.
Yes, it is a fun episode for sure.
Yeah, so anything else you want to say about One Little Ship?
No, I think I've said it all. Again, I really enjoy seeing Bashir and O'Brien banter, and Kira and Worf and Jet Dax. It's all good.
Yeah, there's plenty of them going to be in our little batch here, so
yes,
you'll have to tune in for the next 3 days, listeners, to hear more of our thoughts on Dax, Worf, and everyone in between. So yeah, if people want to contact you, Amy, and tell you about One Little Ship and Prey, where can people find you?
Well, I'm now on Twitter at Miss Amy Nelson, and you can always find me in the Babel Conference, Trek FM's Facebook group.
Yeah, you can find me at the same place, and you can find me on Twitter at Lee_Nostromo. You can find me on my own podcast, The Senate Floor, with Tristan Riddell and Matt Hansen, where we talk about geek culture. And yeah, please let us know in the comment section what you think of these episodes. Are we being a bit too harsh on Prey? Are we being too, forgiving of a silly concept like One Little Ship? Please let us know. It always brings us a smile to read the comments. So yeah, until tomorrow, live long and prosper.